Hey everyone, how's it going? So, I'm sure by now a lot of you know my favorite Pokemon is Kadabra, that's why it's the channel mascot. But you may not know that growing up my second favorite Pokemon was Weepinbell. I just thought it looked cool, I don't know, I just really enjoyed using Weepinbell. And unlike Kadabra, I was easily able to evolve it in my Pokemon Blue, I just preferred it as a Weepinbell. So, how good was my second favorite Pokemon growing up? Well, looking at its stats, I mean, great attack, pretty good special. Speed leaves a little bit to be desired, but for a non-fully evolved Pokemon, this is definitely something we could work with. The move pool on first glance leaves a lot to be desired. There are grass moves, and there is one poison move and a bunch of normal moves, so not a lot of type diversity. However, and this is key, we get two incredibly good moves available to us. One is Swords Dance, which we won't get till later, but the second one we get right off the hop in Growth. In Generation 1, it's basically Calm Mind, raising your special, which is both offensive and defensive. And the fact we get that right away means that once we get Sleep Powder, for any difficult battle, and this is as of level 18, we can just put something to sleep and use enough growths that we can get by it. So that's my theory going into this run, and it may make Weepinbell really good. I mean, as of now, Victreebel ranks in the top 10 of every Pokemon in Generation 1, so I have high hopes that Weepinbell can be good. But are those hopes founded, or just because I really like the Pokemon? Well, let's find out. But first, a big thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Acecraft, Sky Hero. I've had a lot of fun playing Acecraft. One of the things that makes it a little different from other games is there's a level up system. When you level up, you get your choice of a different loadout, very much like a moveset, and it's really interesting seeing which loadout works better to tackle the various enemies and bosses. Speaking of the bosses, you guys know I love to sit there, strategize, think of the best way to take them down, and all the bosses are unique, have interesting patterns. It just really scratches that itch for me. So Acecraft as a mobile game is designed for short bursts of play, around 5 minutes each, but don't be fooled by the length. This shoot 'em up is going to deliver non-stop intensity, patterns, boss battles. I mean, it's really, really fun. One of the most interesting mechanics is the absorb and counter mechanic. There are these pink bullets that you can spin and then launch them back at your enemies, almost like a parry mechanic from fighty games. It's really unique and really makes this game interesting and dynamic and stand apart from a lot of other games in this genre. If Acecraft's Sky Hero looks like something you'd be interested in, well, good news, it's being released on both iOS and Android. And if you want to download the game, well, you can scan the QR code that's on your screen or click the link in the description. Let's fly together, laugh together, and play together in Acecraft Sky Hero. Alright, so when we battle Brock, you'll notice I'm at level 12. Why did I bother leveling up my Weepinbell? Well, Brock is never going to be a problem when we have Vine Whip to start. The issue more is going to be Pokemon coming up. You see, for Pokemon like Weedle, for example, or Zubat, we're not going to be able to use Vine Whip even with growth. It's going to be way too slow. We're going to have to use our second move, Wrap, which is really cheap, but if you're at a low level, it takes a really long time. So, to speed up the process, by beating some of the easier bug catchers in Viridian Forest, we kind of stay on this really good level curve, and we outspeed everything, which is great, making this first battle versus this bug catcher really easy. And now, probably another really scary battle for me, this youngster, Rattata outspeeds, that's not entirely surprising. Actually, it looks like it was a speed tie. But now against Ekans, rather than having to set up growth and use Vine Whip, which would work but is slow, this is quite a bit faster. Still not very fast, but hey, beggars can't be choosers early in the game. Alright, so next we get to Cerulean, and as you'd expect, I battle Misty. I'm at level 20. Again, I've been pretty smart about leveling up. Misty is not going to be much of a threat. Her Staryu and Starmie can only use Tackle. The only real issue is that Vine Whip only has 10 power points, which is very frustrating. And that's another reason we have to use Wrap. Now, eventually, I'm going to get Razor Leaf, which has, you know, it's funny. Vine Whip has way too few power points, but Razor Leaf has way too many. It's just strange how they did that. But anyway, that necessitated putting Starmie to sleep and then using a few growths to make sure I didn't run out of Vine Whips. But yeah, that battle was fairly easy, albeit a little slower than it should have been because Sleep Powder, well, it can miss, so it's not a perfect strategy. Rival 2 might be a little more difficult. I'm gonna try putting it to sleep. Quick Attack's fine. I miss with Sleep the first time. It goes for Gust. And now I'm just gonna go for Wrap. You know what? It's kind of silly to do Sleep and Wrap. Yeah, I don't really know what I was thinking there. That was just a dumb idea. Now we're gonna set up growths against the Abra. I'm gonna go for Vine Whip. I missed the first time. It actually doesn't even knock it out the second time. That's how bulky Abra is. And you know what? I'm just gonna reset. That was no good. Anyway, I'm really worried about Sand Attack, so I would prefer Pidgeotto to sleep. In theory, yeah, see, like in this battle, Wrap ends before Pidgeotto wakes up, so I'd rather not get hit with a Sand Attack. If that's possible, that'd be great. You can also see the limitations to Wrap. I'm not outspeeding, and it takes forever. I just use Wrap against Abra and think that Vine Whip should, okay, does knock out, and now I just gotta put Charmander to sleep. Perfect. And then, you know what, we'll just go for Wrap. Since we outspeed, in theory, as long as we don't miss, things are fine. And Charmander stays asleep. If anything, the sleep actually wasted time because it never ended up attacking, but all's good there. Not quick battles, but effective battles. It will be nice when we finally get to use moves other than Wrap and Vine Whip. It's coming soon, but this combination is definitely slowing things down, which sadly probably will affect Weepinbell's final time. But so far, it hasn't really lost much yet, so that's good. Sadly, Weepinbell does not get access to Body Slam. That would be really nice. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna actually go for growths against Pidgeotto because I'm running out of power points, and unlike what every YouTube comment likes to tell me, you in fact cannot heal in the SS and. That is a thing in Fire Red and Leaf Green, but not, ooh, that's not good. Yeah, no, see, that's not good. There's no way we're gonna, yeah, we just ran out of power points. All right, so there is an ether I always collect in front of Bill's house. I never use it. It's for emergencies only, and this is an emergency. To finish my last thought, there is no healing. I go over this every time. There's always people who claim that that's a thing. It's not. Why I don't heal in Vermilion, I've gone over that as well, because when I use Dig or Teleport, in this case it would be Dig, obviously, it's going to send me right back to Cerulean, which is faster, but if I were to heal in Vermilion, it would send me back to Vermilion. If there was a heal in the SSN, that would be really useful. Speaking of things that are very useful, Surge is very useful for me getting another gym badge. I'm just going to put Voltorb to sleep, use some growths. Unfortunately, wakes up. Voltorb is actually, because of Sonic Boom, the scariest of the Pokemon. I actually went for double Sleep Powder by accident, and it worked. We should be fine here. Sadly, I'm not very fast, so in theory, Raichu... Ooh, Acid. That's nice. I'm going to get rid of Wrap. I know that seems like a bad idea, but Acid is way better, and okay, good. Since there aren't really any more Zubats to fight, Acid is just so much quicker than Wrap, and it's way more reliable, and I'm not going to delete either Growth or Sleep Powder, so that was my only option. It's kind of 4-move syndrome, where if I had a 5th move, I would have both Wrap and Acid, but I do think this is the best loadout for Weepinbell for this point of the game. As you would anticipate, I really didn't have any issues getting to Giovanni 1, but then I noticed when I battled him the first time, I was low on power points for Vine Whip. And by low, I mean I didn't have one for both Rhyhorn and Onix. Having to rely on a 10 power point move this late into the game is infuriating. Sadly, this required me to leave and come back. I'm not going to pretend like I couldn't have handled this a bit better and been smarter with my PowerPoint usage. Additionally, I probably could have battled Erika first, and had I done so, I would have had Mega Drain, which, oh wait, it also has 10 power points. You can't escape from it. Anyway, as you'd expect, the battle itself was a complete joke, but PowerPoint management is not something I typically think of this early in the game. Anyways, moving on. Because I've battled so many trainers to this point, I don't need to battle many of the trainers in Erika's gym. I mean, there's one mandatory trainer, but we can just skip to Erika, and this is where Acid becomes a lot more useful. Yes, Wrap would be fine, but Acid is a heck of a lot quicker at knocking out these grass Pokemon. And finally, we can, in theory, replace Vine Whip with Mega Drain. Now, it is slightly more powerful, and you may have wondered why I didn't just use a power point up to raise my power points for Vine Whip. It's because I may end up using Mega Drain as my main attacking move. Now, as I battle Rival 4, which also is pretty easy, you might wonder, why would I use Mega Drain over Razor Leaf? Razor Leaf's just objectively better. It crits every time, base 55 power. That's basically like a more powerful Solar Beam. Well, this battle actually provides the answer, albeit slightly indirectly. The strategy I'm using would not be possible with Razor Leaf due to a weird bug in Generation 1 where crits, they're supposed to ignore your opponent's stat gains, but in Generation 1, well, maybe it's not a bug, maybe they intended this. But anyway, in just Generation 1, it ignores your stat buffs. So we can't stack Growth and Razor Leaf because of the fact it actually crits every time. A unique combination of really awful Generation 1. Actually, I'll say awful, but in a lot of cases, these are super useful. For Weepinbell, this is an awful confluence of events where, actually most grass Pokemon, sorry, I keep interrupting myself, but to kind of get on track again, it is a combination of factors that, while individually helpful in different runs, for a lot of grass Pokemon like Weepinbell, it's extremely frustrating since the strongest grass move a lot of these Pokemon can learn that isn't a 2-turn move like Solar Beam is 40 base power Mega Drain. And while it's nice that it heals you, as you know from most of my videos, I'm not going to get damaged much if I'm playing properly, so a move with 75 or 80 base power that can stack with Growth would be nice. In Gen 2, obviously we wouldn't have this issue because we could just use Razor Leaf, but in Gen 2, Razor Leaf would just be a 55 base power move. The crits would be far more infrequent because of the way they changed critical hits from the old system to the, well, system. Sadly, this means that unless I don't want to use Acid, which because we have a bunch of Zubat coming up, wouldn't be an option. Trust me, I tried, it just doesn't work. And thus Razor Leaf, as good as it is just not going to be an option for me. With that said, Koga's not going to be too big a deal with or without Razor Leaf. In fact, he's much easier without it because we just put the coughing to sleep. All right, well, let's try to put it to sleep again. You're seeing the 75 accurate sleep powder, but I'm going to go for all 6 growths. Actually, I'm just going to go for 5 to woke up early. And in this battle, I'm actually gaining back health, which is nice. Now, typically, I would be talking about the badge boost glitch, a weird mechanic. Oh, I went for Growth. 1 extra time against Muck. That was a mistake. But I'm sure all of you know this already. It's a glitch that increases all your stats when there's a stat change. It's been fixed in modern Pokemon. In fact, badge boosts exist till Gen 3. Some of you might not know that, but regardless, right now I only have the badges for attack and defense, which aren't super useful, and the glitchy side effects are reset when you level up. The game figures out something is wrong. At this point, I'm just using Growth because I need Special, and Weepinbell is actually a really good example of why I allow the badge boost glitch, because for Weepinbell, I use 6 growths anyway. It's just smart, and in the Elite Four, I'm going to get boosts to speed and attack, which will be objectively helpful, but aren't the only reason I'm using Growth. I'm using it for its intended purpose, so rather than sit there and try to be like, well, am I really using the move? I just either had to allow it or not. And since status boosting moves are a huge part of the game, I mean, it's what allowed me to beat Koga right now, well, to keep things consistent, I have to allow the glitch. So, I've said this a few times, but it's always fun. People like repetition. I mean, heck, if you've watched, what, this 100 and almost 20 videos, I'm guessing a little bit of formula/repetition isn't something you're allergic to. And if it's your first video, welcome. I have a lot of these. Alright, after beating Koga, we head to Silph Company and battle Rival Fivel. Now, we aren't as over-leveled as we might need to be, and Pidgeot can hit us with Wing Attack. It's a 50-50 for Wing Attack or Agility. We're going to try to put it to sleep, and this is where the badge boost glitch is going to help us, since we are going to be able to outspeed Pidgeot. Once we set up all 6, we're going to go for Mega Drain, and then Acid. we're going to use Acid on Execute, and then Gyarados, we're going to go for Mega Drain. Dragon Rage, I'll just go for Acid. This is just to save power points, but see, I level up at the worst possible time. Notice that eye roll. So now Alakazam outspeeds, and of course, it hits with a critical hit. And the growths are supposed to serve dual purpose. They buff me defensively and help me out offensively, but like we talked about, crits ignore all of that, so I have to battle again. In theory, if this is a big problem, I could battle more trainers so I don't level up at this exact point, but we're just going to try this again. And the battle goes pretty smoothly until we get to Alakazam. This time, thankfully, Alakazam does not get a critical hit, but it's not just Alakazam where the level up hurts me, it's also Charizard. Ember isn't doing much damage, well, unless it gets a crit. Thankfully, I get a crit, but I'm doing a lot less damage with Acid than I would. Charizard's another huge reason I can't really rely on Razor Leaf. It's double resisted. I get burned by Ember and then get another crit, which I believe actually hits through the burn. Is that right? A lot of you are Gen 1 experts. Do I hit through burns on crits? Is that a thing in later Pokemon? You know, I actually don't know that. It's crazy. I've been playing these games, including on like Showdown, for years. And there's still like basic mechanics, like do crits ignore the burns? I don't know. I don't think so. I think it always just halves everything. Huh. I seriously have no idea. Well, anyway, a win's a win. And now we can move on to Giovanni number 2. This battle actually won't be as easy as I would like because of Nidorino. We're going to have to put it to sleep and then growth a bunch. You can see I used one of the PowerPoint ups, so I have 12 power points. There's actually a couple more I could get if I really need. And you can see, even with max, I can't one-shot Nidorino. This is going to become less of a problem because as we go later into the game, there are less and less poison Pokemon, but I can't even one-shot Nidoqueen yet. So, irritating. Very irritating. Thankfully, the Elite Four, this is not going to be a big problem, but we have to get there first. And right now, Weepinbell's doing okay, but a lot of the battles, even when they're successful first, second try victories, they're not quick. And I think this is going to hurt its final time. But if it has an easy time versus the Elite Four, that would be really helpful. I'm a little skeptical, but that's a problem for future Gyros. Current Gyros now has 2 gym leaders that we have theoretically a type disadvantage for. And you'd be shocked to learn Blaine is the easier of the 2, because Growlithe sucks. Kadabra's actually really good, Growlithe isn't. Once I beat Blaine, every growth is going to do a little bit more to increase my special, and that should be extremely helpful versus Sabrina. Against Blaine, as long as he doesn't get a critical hit because Growlithe stayed asleep, we should sweep pretty easily. It's going to take a while, and in fact, against Rapidash, I put it to sleep because it has Fire Spin, and that can be really lengthy. I also am slightly concerned if he heals too much about potions, and yeah, I'm getting too many crits. This could be an issue. I do have Acid, so it's not like I can't hit, but with the exact number of power points, I am able to knock out all 4 of Blaine's Pokemon. So now we can move on to Sabrina. So Sabrina, the big issue is Kadabra has Psychic. So I go for Sleep Powder, hits me with Psychic, but doesn't crit. Now I gotta go for Growth, but once it wakes up, I gotta put it back to sleep or attack. I decide to put it to sleep, set up the rest of my growths, and yeah, this is why I want to battle Blaine first. Now, we easily one-shot everything, except for Venomoth. We're gonna have to go for Acid. Oh, we still one-shot it. Nice. It's not actually super effective, by the way. And then we get a crit, very inopportune, but Reflect is very good. Don't forget, Alakazam doesn't actually have Psychic, but a crit Psybeam still would easily have one-shot me. Didn't go for it. Very, very, very good. Only 1 gym leader left. It's Giovanni 3. He's not going to be very difficult. I do need to consider whether I want to battle some of the easier trainers in Giovanni's gym, because as a grass Pokemon, I can sweep through a bunch of them. There are enough easy trainers for a grass Pokemon, including all the swimmer Pokemon. So if I have to go and retrace my steps after some failed Elite Four attempts, I can. In the end, I decide not to battle extra trainers in Giovanni's gym, and I just go for... Actually, I don't even bother putting Rhyhorn to sleep because it's so bad. There's really no reason. And although it does do quite a bit of damage and Fury Attack does take up a bunch of time, one Mega Drain pretty much heals me completely. Then we level up after Dugtrio, which sucks. But thankfully, oh, I was going to say everything is slower, but it's not. Nidoking isn't. And then we get some inopportune crits, meaning it takes 3 hits to knock it out, which is very, very frustrating. It's so annoying when you're using a buff strategy and every crit's like, no, don't crit, no. It's so annoying. Crits are supposed to be a good thing, but we easily beat Giovanni number 3. And now we move on to the final 5 trainers, 6 battles. Can Weepinbell do it? Probably not, but I'm hoping it can. I mean, it can eventually. I just meant quickly, but you knew what I meant. So Rival 6 starts off with Pidgeot, and I'm going to put it to sleep. 50-50 it goes for Wing Attack. The other 50% of the time it goes for Agility. Honestly, I don't really care which one. I just want it to stay asleep for 6 turns, which it does. Mega Drain is only doing half, but Pidgeot, by staying asleep for the maximum number of turns, I think, never attacks, and we get an easy knockout, but we level up right after. That really sucks. That means we won't outspeed anything. Acid also doesn't get attack buffs, which would be nice, although Execute has to use Poison Powder because of weird AI logic for Generation 1. And then Gyarados actually uses Leer, which in theory helps me because it boosts my speed a little bit. It's not going to be enough to outspeed Alakazam. As long as it doesn't crit, I'm good. It goes for Psybeam, and that's fine. We're going to use Acid. Then it goes for Psychic and lowers my special, which is kind of helpful because that means that Acid will do more damage. Flamethrower still is pretty weak. I'm going to go for another Growth and then some Mega Drains to try and heal up. And then I go for Acid. Acid's doing just about as much as Mega Drain, so it's a slow but steady process. But the Sleep Luck in this battle was unbelievably good. And look at that, I also am able to pass the Ledge Boss. Things are looking up for Gyarados. Hopefully the Elite Four continues this, but sadly, I think specifically Agatha might be really tricky because we can't really set up reliably against Gengar, and our best move is probably going to be Mega Drain, which is resisted by her high special Ghost Pokemon. And then there's a Golbat to deal with. I said there weren't too many Poison-type Pokemon. There is still one. Anyway, let's see how it goes. First things first, we have to battle Lorelie. I always try to battle first without using all my rare candies. I find it's very helpful. And I'm going to put it to sleep. Use 6 Growth. Actually, it stays asleep. Nice. So we're going to one-shot Dugong and Cloyster. Slowbro, we're going to go for Mega Drain and one-shot it as well. We level up. Ooh, I just got a great idea. Oh, okay, well, we just got crit by Jinx. I have a really great idea. I just thought of something for Agatha that might be really smart. Anyway, I just think that rare candies are going to be needed, so might as well use them. It might seem like I'm giving up too early, but the truth of the matter is the only reason not to use the rare candies... Oh god, I just used my Max Ether. Anyway, I'm just going to skip ahead. But before I do that, let me just finish my thought. We're always going to use the rare candies just after which Elite Four member, and it was always going to be before Agatha. In theory, I might be able to milk out one more level, but if it's difficult, it's just not worth it. Okay, so now we're at level 59. So we go from under-leveled to over-leveled, and as you'd expect, the strategy works pretty well, although we get a crit against Jinx, which is really annoying. And are you kidding me? I don't knock out Lapras and it gets a crit. Are you kidding me? Wow. Wow. Okay. Well, finally, in our third attempt, aka the very next attempt, I decide not to put Dugong to sleep. If anything, it using Aurora Beam and lowering my attack could help me. But yeah, I'm able to sweep through everything, which is really nice. I don't believe I saw an attack drop. If I did, that would definitely have helped versus Lapras. But as you can see, the crit versus Jinx is the only reason Jinx was a 2-shot. Bruno is going to be pretty easy. His Pokemon all have extremely low special. In fact, I don't even know if I need to use a single Growth. And okay, I need to use at least one. Actually, am I going to have enough? No. I don't know why I'm putting this to sleep, but I'll just use 2. All right, 3. Okay, that should be enough. All right, 4. Okay, all right, 5. That was a little overkill, but I guess I want to be very sure we knock out everything in one hit because I do only have 1 growth to spare. But thinking back, that was probably not the best call. Also, I should mention that as of this point in time, I never had access to a reliable damage calculator. Not that I'd like to use them for this type of battle, but I never know exactly how many I need. Okay. So against Agatha, I'm going to try with the, oh God, Nightshade. Come on, come on. All right, we put it to sleep on our second attempt, and we're going to try the growth strategy. I don't know how this is going to go, especially with Golbat, but I have an idea. Actually, Acid does quite a bit of damage. Oh no, I messed up my count for growth. That's fine. Now I'm going to go for Mega Drain because Gengar is already asleep, and it's staying asleep. I'm going to go for Acid. Oh my God, we got a miss. That's a Gen 1 miss, but thankfully, we're able to put it back to sleep and then knock it out. The reason I have to go for Acid, by the way, power points. We level up so Haunter outspeeds, and it takes 2 attempts to put it to sleep. Thankfully, Haunter doesn't put me to sleep. It does wake up, but we're able to knock it out in 2 hits. And then against Arbok, again, Sleep Powder being a little wonky, but we're able to knock it out in, well, it actually swaps out, so that's okay. Now we can put Gengar to sleep. This one doesn't have Hypnosis. And, okay, well, I do have a backup strategy if this ever wouldn't work. I was thinking of using Mimic and mimicking Dream Eater. That would be a really great strategy. So I'll put that one in my back pocket if we need it. But for now, I think we are going to make it to the champion. I have been wrong before, but by being a poison type, only 2 of Lance's Pokemon are scary. The first is Gyarados. A crit Hyper Beam I think would knock me out. I'm going to go for growth, but that doesn't really help defensively. And then I put it back to sleep. Again, crit Hyper Beam would be devastating. Of course, I get a crit, but I 2-shot probably would have anyway. And now I just go for Acid. Dragonair, because of brilliant Gen 1 programming, is just going to go for Agility. So that's really good. Aerodactyl takedown. Nice. No crit. If it crit, I think we would have been fine. And now against Dragonite, it can go for Barrier. I'm glad it's going for Agility. We should be fine. Okay, easy. Easy. All right, yo, this is great. The only time we lost was to Lorelei, who we actually, in theory, have an advantage against. Anyway, champion time. Are we going to do this on our first try? Let's see. Okay, so Pidgeot obviously outspeeds me. Mirror Move fails, Sleep Powder hits. So, stays asleep, 1 growth. 2 growths, I'm already outspeeding, it wakes up. All right, we put it back to sleep. 3 growths, it's asleep. 4 growths, it's asleep. 5 growths, it's asleep. All growths, it wakes up. I put it back to sleep just in case. And then I go for growth accidentally. I meant to go for Acid, and then a second Acid. That's 1. Alakazam, I go for Acid. The badge boosts are why I do more attack damage. We knock it out in 1 hit. Right on. I go for Mega Drain. We level up here. That's unfortunate. There's a way around that, but that's unfortunate. Execute. I try to put it to sleep. It puts me to sleep. Stomp. Barrage. Please wake up. 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 No! I should have just gone for Acid, but the truth is, because of the level up, there is no chance Acid would have one-shot. So frustrating. Maybe I can save a rare candy for the champion fight so I don't level up, but that sucked. I'd love to tell you I made it back to the champion on my next attempt, but remember we talked about critical hit Hyper Beams? Turns out doesn't even need a critical hit. A regular Hyper Beam from Aerodactyl, if I'm not at full health, can do enough damage to knock me out. So that's a thing. I wanted to try the Dream Eater strat just once, and I thought I was going to get it. I get Gengar to sleep, I mimic Dream Eater, and that combos well with growth. Unfortunately, I don't get enough growth, so Gengar still outspeeds me, and then I get confused. I think things are good. I put it back to sleep, go for Dream Eater, everything's great, right? Well, then I miss with Sleep Powder. Actually, I misclicked, and then Haunter puts me to sleep and gets a crit with Dream Eater. The growths should have insulated me, but they didn't. So Hooray for me. Of course, we can have a battle where everything goes right against Agatha. Hypnosis misses, I put it to sleep, use a bunch of growths, and then go for Mimic. Now that I'm outspeeding, it swaps out. I put Golbat to sleep twice, keep going for growth, and then Dream Eater should just sweep. It does suck. I have to use Hypnosis, and the level up is annoying. In theory, I think Haunter outspeeds, but here's where I can use another growth, and now I outspeed Haunter. And a second growth, I should outspeed the Gengar, and everything is asleep. Oh, I actually didn't outspeed Gengar. All right, I need 3 growths to outspeed Gengar. Still, the final Gengar isn't too scary. The worst thing it could do is confuse me. And you'll see I am a level lower because I'm saving a rare candy for the champion. So everything is set up here, right? Everything is great. I just need Lance to go well, and I have this. Well, Sleep Powder, wake up. Sleep Powder, stay asleep. Good. 1, 2 growths. Mega Drain, it wakes up. All right, we're fine. See, because of the way I'm doing rare candies, I need to make sure. Let me just look. 17. All right. Oh, wait. How much do I gain from... Okay, we should be fine. Now I'm going to... Actually, you know what? Wait a minute. If I just mimic agility here, then I'll always outspeed. I don't remember how many experience points Dragonair gives me. And this is important because we don't want Aerodactyl to outspeed. Of course, I get a crit. I have to use Mega Drain here, which is a little scary. So, okay, I level up after the first one, which is bad. Oh, wait, that was really bad. Okay, now I have to put it to sleep. Oh, wait a minute. How am I gonna... No. Oh, I messed up. I messed up so badly. Oh, wow. Wow. That was the most... I can't believe I just did that. Yeah, without Acid, I only have Mega Drain, which is double resisted. That was maybe one of the dumbest unforced errors in one of these challenges ever. That's saying something. Anyway, I think this is attempt number 5 at Lance. It's the very next attempt. I do get the miss with Sleep Powder and Hyper Beam, but not crit Hyper Beam. Remember, it has to be crit Hyper Beam for it to knock me out. And now I know I'm going to level up after Dragonair number 1. So instead of mimicking agility, why don't I just mimic Hyper Beam? And the reason I'm doing that is for Dragonite. If we have enough... Wait. Oh, I screwed that up, didn't I? Yeah, because now... Oh my god. So now we're not going to have the attack boost. I meant to do this here. I was not paying attention. This is the thing when I'm streaming and playing. Back in the day, I didn't used to stream while I used to do these challenges, and oh my god, a crit. I'm just so annoyed. All right, we're gonna... Oh, yes, agility. No, not barrier. Now I'm gonna need... All right. No, I get a crit. All right, well, now I need a crit with Hyper Beam. Oh my god. Oh my god, this is gonna take forever. And Hyper Potion. I lost again. Wait, there's a crit. Wait. Yeah, double crit, let's go. Oh my gosh, this was so bad. So bad. All I had to do was use the growth later and I would have gained attack boost, but I at least remembered not to use the rare candy early. I'm at level 62. That means I will not level up before Executor. We have this. Unless things go horribly wrong here. Let's do it. Uh-oh, Sky Attack? Okay. Sleep Powder puts it to sleep. That's fine. It wakes up. Please go back to sleep. Okay, because otherwise I get hit with Sky Attack, and that can crit, and that can be awful. All right, come on. Let's go. 3 for 3. All right, come on. No, don't wake up. 4 for 4. Very good, very good. Okay, all right. Mega Drain. Nice. All right, please, just one shot. No, okay. I didn't know if it would one shot or not. This was the first time we had tried this. I'm just going to go for Mega Drain. Wait, what do I do? Now I have to put it to sleep. I didn't even think about this. Okay, well, I guess I should have mimicked something earlier. We're going to run out of power points, but I do have an idea here. Ah, gosh. Okay, so we're going to have to put this to sleep. Of course, Lear's fine. Okay, we put it to sleep, and now we're going to have to mimic a move off Gyarados. Do I go for Hyper Beam or Hydro Pump? I'm going to go Hydro Pump. Hopefully this one-shots. It doesn't, but with all my growths, Hydro Pump will knock it out. And now we level up. Fire Blast. No. I'm burned, but I have Hydro Bump, which of course misses. No. Fire Blast, no crit. Yes, Hydro Bump hits. Let's go. Wow. Very frustrating. Definitely a bit of that was my fault. But overall, I think I did a pretty good job. The strategies were good. I just didn't lock in. But you know what? Overall, I'm pretty happy. I love the Dream Eater strat. That was pretty cool. And oh, I forgot to deposit Spiro. I think that's the first time that's ever happened. The final time is 433. So where does that leave us? Well, level 6343 among pre-evolved Pokemon, which Weepinbell isn't, would put it at third, which really shows you how great Ghastly and Poliwag are at this challenge. I have a feeling when all the middle evolutions are done, it's going to be in the top 3. But right now, we just haven't done enough of them yet to do a middle form tier list. So in the overall tier list, it's going to be in the top third. So in like the 66th percentile, which is pretty good. I mean, that's strong. But unfortunately, its slow strategies as a result of its very limited moveset really held it back. And it's not as powerful as something like Victory Bell, which is so good that it can make up for that. Still, really fun to use Weepinbell, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I have more videos to make. I'm going to go do that, and I'll see you all soon. Take care.